All right, hello. Oh gosh, the camera's still shaking. Okay. This is like my third attempt at this video because my cat Hershey is being a nuisance. Anyway, hello Flosstube. My name is Aimee. I am the Black Cat Stitcher here on YouTube and on Instagram, and this is a channel about my hobbies, cross-stitch, and reading. For the first half of this video, I'm going to talk about my cross-stitching, and the second half I will briefly talk about books that I've read in the past 2 weeks. Anyway, this is the third time that I've done this introduction because my cat Hershey keeps jumping on the place where I am setting my camera and knocking it and jiggling it. So, third time's a charm. Yes, speaking of Hershey, I have moved places because usually I have my catio in the background, but I've moved to my spare bedroom so I can have my cat tree in the background because the catio is out of business for now, temporarily, because my cat Hershey, the nuisance, and now escape artist, has created a hole in the catio. Basically, the catio is a wood frame with chicken wire around it, and he continuously pawed at the corner of the chicken wire to cause it to detach, and he was able to crawl out through that hole. So I have bought the supplies to fix it, but for now it's out of commission. So hopefully we'll get some cat action in the background on the cat tree, but they're kind of resting right now, so I doubt it. But I tried. Anyway, story time over. Now we can start into what you all are here for, which is cross-stitch talk. The first project that I'm going to show you is my focus piece. This is the piece that I work on the weekends. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is Star Wars Cross Stitch by Nina Olson Embroidery on Etsy. And here is Father Look Away. Here is my progress. I've completely filled in the flames and most of his face. There's still some darker colors like blacks and browns that will fill in his face because he's got the stripes on his face. Please don't disturb my camera. Go away. Yes, but next, this upcoming weekend, starting tomorrow, I will be filling in his hood with some of the, confetti colors, and then there's a whole bunch of 939 and 310, so I will get a whole bunch of blocks of color. So hopefully this hood part will go pretty quickly, and then I can get to making his face complete, which will be awesome. Anyway, I'll actually put something behind it so you can see instead of it being see-through. But yeah, that is my progress thus far. Now on to my second work in progress. My second work in progress I worked on the first week since my last video, and I chose it by the Tiny Decisions wheel, and I spent the entire week focusing on it, and this is it. I have lost the cover sheet, and I will try and find it, but yes, this is what I'm calling Shy Cat. I don't actually know the title, and I will not be sharing where I got it because the Etsy shop that shall not be named. But you can watch my first video if you want to know what that means. Anyway, I had just about that much of this corner of black stitching done, and now I have completely finished it and brought it down to the bottom, very bottom corner, and I'm going to move this Q-snap and do the same mirror of what I did over here on this side. This is done on 14 count white Aida, 4/1 with anchor floss. And yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing up the 403, which is the black colored anchor floss, and moving on to some more colors. Although this project does have quite a few muted colors, so like tans and browns, which isn't all that exciting, but the end product of this is adorable, so I'm looking forward to it. I've also got one more whip to show you. This was a scheduled new start that I've been planning. As I said in my previous video, I wanted to embroider my project bags with a rainbow color in honor of Pride Month. And this is the photo of my jumping off point. I bought this pattern on Etsy. I will have a link in the description below, probably to where the shop is, but I do not remember it off the top of my head, unfortunately. But anyway, my plan was to do 2 little hearts and do them, you know, in the marbling in the colors of the pride flag. So far, I've got the pink, the blue and white, the black and brown, and a little bit of the red. The red will continue down around this way. There'll be another triangle of the black over here, and I have the rest of the rainbow over here on this side. And yeah, I've planned out the first heart, so to speak, and I've kind of, sort of, maybe thought about the second one, but I've also thought that maybe I could put some words over on this side instead of a second heart. And then down in this corner I'm going to, because I use this particular bag for floss storage, I'm going to backstitch the letters or the numbers of the DMC floss that is, or range is, that is going to be stored in this bag. So yeah, this has been really enjoyable. It's just satin stitch, so it goes really smoothly, and it's a really nice simple project that, you know, doesn't take too much brain space to do, and I'm really looking forward to see the end result and see if my first ever I guess changing of the pattern is going to go well or not. So far so good. I'm pleased, but we'll see if the color scheme ends up looking good and, you know, if my design, you know, works out in the long run. But yeah, I'm very pleased with this. All right, and the next part, cross stitch that we are going to talk about is haul. I've got 2 things to share with you. My first thing is this. I got this little floss buddy, and I will put the shop names description below. But yep, I haven't really filled it out yet, but I'm going to be using this, you know, for travel, because I do take a project with me to work in the morning, occasionally, so that I can sit at my desk before work starts and sip my caffeinated beverage and get a little bit of stitching in before I officially clock in. So this I'm going to bring back and forth to work with me, and I think this will be a convenient place to store all of my necessary tools, including my wee little scissors to put in the pouch at the bottom. So, and it's dragons. How awesome is that? Anyway, I'm very pleased with this, as you can tell. And I also have a pattern purchase that I would like to share with you. I bought this set on Etsy. Again, I will link the shop in the description below. but I am nearing the end of my bookmarks. I am sensing a finish if I am able to focus enough time on these bookmarks. So I bought that pattern in order to, have something to start once I finish, finish the bookmarks. I've already added one of them, this one, to my wheel for a potential new start, because I do have a scrap of fabric that'll fit, and I have a extra needle minder, so I might as well just have a new start if I'm able to, spin it on the decision wheel. But I also, once I finish the bookmarks, will start one of the other 3. And if you have an opinion about which one of those 3 you would like me to start after the blue tree up here in the corner, leave that in the comments below, and who knows, maybe I will pick the one that gets voted for the most and yeah, start that one. So anyway, those are my that is my stitching for the day, or for the past 2 weeks. And I thought I would start spinning my tiny decisions wheel live or semi-live on camera, so that you guys will know which 2 projects I will be working on in the next couple weeks. So you'll be able to anticipate, what you'll see in my next video. Anyway, I have my tiny decision wheel here. It's got all of my projects except for the Star Wars. What is happening? Ugh. My fat fingers keep pressing things. It's not fair. Okay. Whew. Anyway, I've got all of my projects on this wheel, and we're going to spin it for the first week. Modern tree circle. Woo! We're going to get a new start next week. So I'm going to start that blue tree that I pointed out, and you'll get to see my start on that in the next upcoming Flosstube. And my second whip will spin for now. Ooh, Tin Man bookmark. So we are lucky because we're going to see a start, and we might see a finish in next week's or next time's number 8 Flosstube. So that would be fun. And I was hoping that it would pick one of the bookmarks because I'm itching for a finish, to be honest. So, woo, now on to the second hobby of mine, reading. And we'll talk about, I have 3 books to talk about. So if you're only here for the stitching stuff, goodbye. And we will move on to the 3 books that I finished this past 2 weeks. The first book is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, I believe it was. That was the book that I talked about last week that I had just started. I had gotten it from Michelle Bendy's Stitchy's Flosstube. She had talked about it in one of her earlier videos. I'm still binge watching her videos. She's got a lot, so it's probably going to take me a while to get through them all. But I like to see all of the videos from start to finish. It's nice to see people's, progress and projects over time. So anyway, I finished that book, and I will give it probably an 8 out of 10. It was a very... Hershey, don't shake the camera, please. it was a very detailed book, and it would give you kernels of information about who the culprit was along the way, and my mind was ever changing about who the bad guy was, and sometimes that got a little frustrating though, because honestly they would give you so little information, and towards the end I was like, oh come on, we've got to be close now, we've got to catch the killer. But overall, besides maybe there at the end when I got a little bit frustrated with the lack of information or the lack of tidbits of knowledge that they were, or the tidbits of knowledge that they were spreading throughout the book, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the second book that I read was this book. It is Hershey, Doom Chinket, Murder in Wisconsin, the Claire Olson Case by Larry Shekel. And this is a book that I borrowed from my mom. She read this book because she found it in a local bookstore. And it is about a murder case, unsolved murder that happened in the area that I grew up. Fun fact, I was not born in Wyoming. I am originally from Iowa. I've spent most of my years in Iowa. I've only been in Wyoming for about, I guess, 2 years at this point. But anyway, this was interesting only for the fact that there were places that I've been to, places that I recognized, because I lived in Iowa right across the border from Wisconsin. In fact, we could enter Wisconsin within 45 minutes from my house. So I was very familiar with the landscape that this was, or the setting that this murder took place. So it was interesting for that fact. However, this author was very repetitive. I think he could have explained the murder case in about 5 chapters. But this is 24 chapters long, plus an epilogue. So he kind of gave you the same information over and over with different words, and I was like, come on, get to the point already. So I did not enjoy this book. It wasn't a pleasant read. However, it was interesting because it gave a little bit of a interesting historical murder case from the area where I grew up, and it was only good for that reason. So if you live in Wisconsin or Iowa around the Prairie du Chien area, which is where this kind of happened, it might be interesting to you. If you aren't from that area, don't read it. Plain and simple. And the last book, I just finished it, literally maybe an hour ago, but this is the next book that my mom and I are doing in our mother-daughter book read, and it's The Girl in Cabin 13 by A.J. Rivers. And this is a series. It's about FBI agent Emma Griffin, and this book was recommended to my mom by the local librarian in my hometown. And I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a bad book, but after reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, this murder mystery simply doesn't compare. It's very straightforward. My mother and I literally guessed who the killer was within the first 5 chapters, and it was very predictable, basically, is what I'm about to say. And after reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, it was a little bit lackluster. It's not a bad book. It's just really straightforward, which sometimes can be very appealing, because, a simple, easy read is always a good thing sometimes. But yeah, those are the 3 books that my mother did read 2 of them along with me, but I I read them. But yeah, those are the 3 books that I've read of the past couple weeks. The next book that I'm going to read is another book that I borrowed from my mom. I've been holding these 2 books hostage, basically, probably for a year-ish by now, and she's kindly reminded me that I need to read them, give them back to her, although she's said that, you know, I should take my time, but it was a gentle reminder, shall we say. Anyway, I'm going to read that book. It's called 11 Days. It's another murder mystery book. That seems to be the theme that I've been going with lately. But it's another book that's written by a local author to where I grew up. So it'll be a lot of the, you know, familiar landscape that I grew up looking at. So that will be interesting. And my mom highly praised this book, so I'll let you know if it's good. I'm pretty sure it will be, because my mom and I have pretty similar tastes when it comes to books. So Hershey says it's about time I said goodbye. So yeah, goodbye everyone, and I will see you in another 2 weeks with a new start and hopefully a new finish. Goodbye.